Well, it was another big Olympic day for Team USA in Sochi, Russia. Teams competed in women's hockey and freestyle skiing events, among other competitions that were taking place. Here's a look at the leaderboard. The U.S. leads with 25 in the medal counts. Russia is 2 behind with 23 medals, followed by the Netherlands, Norway, Canada, and Germany. Now, the long-anticipated rematch between the U.S. and Canada in women's hockey ended with Canada on top in a bitter defeat for the Americans. For more from Sochi, I spoke with RT's Paul Scott just a short time ago about the gold medal women's hockey match.
Well, it's a case of deja vu, and it's heartbreak for the USA. Canada 3-2 victors in the women's ice hockey final to secure the gold medal. The USA thought at one stage that they were going to head for revenge. Of course, Canada beating the USA 3-2 in the preliminary stages. The USA were 2-0 up at one stage going in to the final period, or at one stage in the final period. But 2 late goals from Canada secured overtime, and the momentum shift swung firmly in their favour. Canada's fantastic Winter Olympics winning streak continues. Well over 20 matches now since they last lost. They were the 3-time champions going into tonight's match, so perhaps they were favourites for many people. But it was absolute drama on the ice this evening. It couldn't have been closer between the two sides. But Canada's great record continues. It is a disappointment and heartbreak for the USA, a defeat in the most agonising of fashions. But the USA will be hoping, I suppose, to get revenge later on Friday when the two sides meet again in the men's hockey competition. This is for a place in the final. They go head-to-head in the last 4, so the USA will be looking for revenge. The other semi-final sees Sweden take on Finland.
So what is the chance for the U.S. to move on to gold in the men's hockey match?
Well, they're going to fancy their chances, of course. The US have already been sternly tested in this men's hockey competition. You'll remember that thrilling game they had against Russia in the preliminary stages, where it went into overtime. It was a 2-2 draw that day, and it went to one of the most lengthy shootouts in Olympic history. The USA eventually prevailed that day, so they have been sternly tested on the ice, and tomorrow they take on a Canada side who, of course, will be buoyed by what their female counterparts have just done. So all eyes are going to be on the Bolshoi Ice Dome on Friday, where the USA take on Canada, and I think we can expect another thrilling matchup.
And Paul, I know that ice hockey isn't the only thing that's going down in the rink today. Talk about the big events with figure skating. What do we know from who the winners and losers are?
Yeah, I think figure skating is probably the #1 sport in Russia right now. After the men's hockey team were beaten, of course, by Finland in the quarterfinals, I think they've all turned their attention to figure skating, and this is a sport that Russia are doing exceptionally well in. This evening, they've just claimed their first ever gold medal in the women's individual competition in the figure skating. It went to Adelina Sotnikova, who put in an absolutely faultless display in her free program to move from second at the halfway stage after she was in the silver medal position following the short program. So she has secured gold. It's given the Russian fans here in Sochi a bit of a boost. But of course, before the competition started, all eyes were on 15-year-old Yulia Lipnitskaya, who was the new darling of Russian sport. She was absolutely superb as she helped Russia to win the team event, but she stumbled twice. She stumbled once in her short program last night, and she stumbled and fell to the ice again in the free program. She ended up finishing 5th. I have no doubt at 15 years of age that her time will come again. But this evening it's all about Adelina Sotnikova. She's the one who has given the Russian sporting fans a much-needed shot in the arm and something to cheer them up after that hockey defeat. And I can tell you that the USA's Gracie Gold, disappointment for her, narrowly missing out on a medal, finishing 4th.
And what are some of the big events that we can expect tomorrow as we head into the final weekend of the Winter Games?
Well, I suppose over the next 24, 48 hours or so, all eyes are really going to be on Sunday's men's ice hockey final. It really is the showpiece event of any Winter Olympics. And there's a bit of an air of deflation, I have to tell you, in and around Sochi this week after Russia suffered that defeat to Finland. They were going into the tournament talked about as favourites, home favourites. They haven't won an ice hockey gold since the fall of the Soviet Union in 1988. However, some Russian players were part of the unified team that won gold in 1992. But it wasn't to be. They lost to Finland in the quarterfinals 3-1, and that really did slightly deflate the mood in and around Sochi, certainly for the home fans, I have to say. But of course, we have the semi-final lineup in that men's competition tomorrow, with Sweden taking on Finland and the USA taking on Canada. So two, I suppose, local derbies, if you will, which are going to add to the excitement and the tension. And that concludes on Sunday afternoon, a few hours before the closing ceremony. So that's the showpiece event that's building up and that we're all leading to over the next day or two.
RT's Paul Scott bringing us the latest from Sochi, Russia in the Winter Olympic Games. Thank you so much.